Order. Trustee Rodriguez, can you do the roll call, please?
Absolutely. Trustee Rodriguez is here. Trustee Williams? Present. Trustee Williamson?
Present.
Trustee Davis?
Here.
Trustee Kilpatrick
She's
is excused. Trustee Melton? Here. Trustee Moreno? Here. VP Wade? Present. And President Davis.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Moving forward to celebrations. First up, we have the 42nd Annual Giants Recognition of Junior Giants. Welcome.
Good evening, President Davis, Dr. Roby, and other distinguished board trustees. Tonight we have with us a scholar from University Prep Academy and her principal, Mrs. Hill Hall. I will allow her to introduce the scholar who was acknowledged as the Junior Giant, the 42nd Annual Junior Giant program this year. She, along with several other students from GRPS, received recognition there, where they will also receive, I believe, a scholarship as well. And so I will let Ms. Hill Hall talk about it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to share about my scholar that is here, and then I'm also going to share about one of our other scholars, because this year we had 2 Junior Giants at UPrep. Our other scholar couldn't be here tonight because she's in district conference, but that just shows you the footprints of our Junior Giants that are here. So our first Junior Giant that I'm introducing is Ms. Kamora Price. I've had the privilege of knowing Ms. Kamora for 4 years. Her GPA she's in the top 1% in our graduating class, over a 4.0. She has taken 7 dual enrollment courses, 4 advancement placements, and has been on honor roll every semester since 9th grade. She's also one of our participants in the Michigan State Teacher Education Program, so we're hoping to see her here in GRPS. If there's any HR people here, you know this is our future educator here. And she's also a member and officer of National Honor Society. She's been, for the past 2 years, a representative for the Superintendent Council, and sits on our senior executive board. Ms. Kamora is just a bright light. She is not a young lady that has a lot of words, but she's always got a bright smile to give everyone, and she's so very kind, and we just love having her in our community.
I'd like to add that as the co-chair of the Giants Committee, this is the 10th year that we've acknowledged Junior Giants, and it's a very competitive process. And upon reading many of the applicants, Kamora's application and her process just shot out and just jumped right off the pages. So I was very happy and proud to be in the room when I realized it was a GRPS student that would be receiving this acknowledgement and award. Some great congratulations. And I believe she has her brother that came with her, so just want to acknowledge that her brother attended with her today. So we just want to acknowledge that.
He's also a scholar at UPrep as well.
All right. So
Well,
thank you.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yep.
So Kamora, I'm also going to lift up the fact that she was also a recipient of the MLK
Yes.
scholarship about a month or so ago. And I don't remember what the financial implications of that was, but it just demonstrates how this young lady is shining in multiple arenas.
Absolutely.
And so we are very proud of you and know that you will continue to just let your light soar and do great things. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Celebration of Soul recognition of our Coit Creative Arts Academy Scholar.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Davis, and members of the board. This celebration was so incredible. The Celebration of Soul event I was able to participate and be an audience member of, and when I saw our scholar and our incredible fine arts teacher, Miss Perry, I knew it had to be a board celebration. So I'm going to turn it over to the school's incredible leader, Dr. Edie, to tee this one up.
Good evening, Dr. Roby, distinguished board members, trustees. Wow, what can I say? I have been a part of the Coit family since March of '22. I put it on everything. I was never going to the elementary, but these babies of mine have changed my life. So Percy, we are Coit Creative Arts Academy. I'm going to give you a snapshot for those of you who are new. So Coit is an International Baccalaureate Primary Years program. You hear us say PYP a lot, but we are twofold. Creative Arts, where we serve our families, scholars, under the disciplines of art, advanced art, music, advanced music, or honors. Got a rock band, we have an honors choir, we have also dance, honors dance, we have Spanish, and we have physical education. Well, some folks ask about International Baccalaureate. It's a framework which balances the work that we do. The IB crosses over and balances and aligns with our creative arts. Some folks think we just teach the creative arts. No, it's a balance. They are meshed in transdisciplinary work. But Percy, Miss Perry has taught this great scholar how to become, he already has it, but to become bold, brave, and stand on it, because every single time he gets before our community, it's an audition. And she has ingrained that into him, his little brother Cairo, every one of our scholars. And so, Miss Perry, I'm not gonna tell your story, I want you to tell it about how our scholar was able to grace the stage with TI, or around that.
Well, I have worked with the Symphony with Soul and Celebration with Soul for well over 20 years. And this year, one of the pieces that the community chorus was doing, it needed someone to do a part on one of the songs, and the song was Glory. And so I said, you know, Dr. Dwayne, what you really need, I said, you need a kid from Coit to do the part. And I said, I know just the student. So he took time out of his day to come and hear Percy, and right off the bat, he was very impressed, but not just with Percy's talent, but with his character, and how Percy was a hard worker and very mannerable. And that's what Dr. Dwayne, he saw himself in you, Percy, matter of fact, when he was a 5th grader. And so when Percy got the opportunity, he just mesmerized the community chorus and also the symphony members, and just how his approach was. He was just very professional. And that's just one of the things that I try to ingrain in students, that you are always auditioning. You never know who's looking at you, and when you get an opportunity. And then Percy made the most of that opportunity. So we are so proud of Percy in this performance.
Percy, is there anything you'd like to say about what it was like to go on that stage and flow those rhymes?
So it was great having, because it was fun up there, and it really made me excited, and it made me happy that all these people came to see me. And I'm just happy I did good, and I'm happy people liked it.
Yeah. And would like his parents please stand? Little brother?
Yes.
Well, Percy, that is quite an accomplishment to perform in front of that many people at your age. So I can tell already that you're going to go very far. And I'm a music teacher, so I'm sorry I missed it, but I love when you perform for us in in your ensembles, and you guys are doing a wonderful job, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, we do not have our scholar representatives here tonight, so we will move over the report of the scholar representatives and into public comment.
All right. So during public comment, individuals will be invited to the podium to address the board. Before beginning your comment, please state your full name. At that time, we will begin the timer, allowing each individual 3 minutes to make their comment. In accordance with Open Meetings Act, board members and superintendent cannot respond to public comment. Concerns will be brought to the attention of the appropriate staff. We value your input and thank you for sharing with us. And just to note, the timer is right behind Vice President Wade for your reference.
Thank you. Okay, first up, we will have Matt Marlowe, and then following Matt will be Julie McBride.
My name is Matt Marlowe, president of GREA. Thank you, Dr. Roby, President Davis, and distinguished board members for this opportunity tonight. My topic was talking about the budget. So basically, talking about where we've been, where we are, and where do we go from here. I was looking over some data as far as back from 2017 to 2024. And when I'm looking at mostly the general fund revenue and also general fund expenditures, so money that you're taking in and also spending. So back in 2017, essentially, our revenue was $197 million. And then that same year, we spent $199 million. So basically, $2 million we had to, take a loss there on that year. And then the following year, 2018, we received $206 million, and then we spent $209. So once again, we're kind of running a deficit here. And then the following year, 2019, we're at $2,005 million, and then we spent $210 million of those dollars. And then finally, that fourth year along, received $210 million, and then spent $213. So for 4 consecutive years, there was, deficit spending. And then 2021 comes along. Essentially, we received $224 million, and then all of a sudden, we spent $216. So that's a plus side. That's almost $8 million. And then 2022, we didn't spend as much as we earned, which was about $1.1 million. And then 2023, we basically accrued $265 million and only spent $248 in the general fund. So that's a whopping $16.8 million surplus. And then for 2024, took in $293 million, and then actual fund expenditure was $274. So basically, that was $18 million in a plus. So I know we accrued some deficits, negative $11 million, but then on the flip side, we had $43.9 million. So that kind of shows you where we've been, and then where we are, and then where do we go from here. I'm curious about our expenditures, looking at, from 2021, we were at $216 million. That was kind of what we're spending. 2022, we're at $241. I know ESSER was involved with that, so there's going to be a little more spending. And then we went to $248 million, and then finally $274 million. So I know the ESSER funds are done, but I'm curious, where does that put us at now? I mean, because when you look at the jumps from 2017, 18, 19, all the way to 24, you're seeing increments of spending increases. But is that rational to think, well, we went from 216 to 241, 248, and then 274 million? I'm just curious where we fall now. Are we going to stay at that 275, or is it going to come back down? So that's just the question I was wondering. So thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Julie McBride, followed by Mariah Welch.
Hello, I'm Julie McBride. I stopped attending board meetings because, there's not. I'm down on the main ground, and he's talking big picture. I'm in it. But when I heard you guys were talking about the budget, I guess my question is, are we hiring people that are competent to do their jobs? And how much are we paying them? Because there's been positions that have been left open for quite a while, and then we get somebody that wants the position, then it takes them forever to get into the position. We're sitting here in March, and we finally are fully staffed in our building, but we've had somebody looking at a position since September that took till January to get hired. I question our HR and their ability to do their job, because if I did my job that poorly, I wouldn't have a job. We're asked to sacrifice all the time, but I don't see other, maybe I don't. I'm just down doing my job. But the things that I'm asked to do, because there's not money for it, but then I see other places getting things. We talk about equitable for our students. But again, Franklin, our uppers are not being equitable. I've sat with 27 kids all year. Their solution was to move 2 kids out of my room to my teaching partner because she had lost kids. But then she just got 4 more kids. So how is that for social emotional? But then I talked to other colleagues, and they sit with 14 kids in their classroom, 17 kids in their classroom, and I'm held to the same standard, and I'm at the same pay. Just because I can doesn't mean I should. And just because the kids can learn in that environment doesn't mean they should have to. There should not be a whole SEL committee because we're not hiring and retaining teachers, because you're spending millions of dollars for recruitment. I'll tell you, recruitment. Treat us well, and we recruit.
Mariah Welch, followed by Wendy Winston.
Hello, so I am Mariah Welch. I'm a 7th and 8th grade English teacher at CA Frost, and this is my dream job. And it's not just a job for me, it's a calling. I feel an undeniable pull to serve my community as a teacher. I come from a family of educators, then married into one, and I've seen firsthand the profound impact an educator can have on a student's life. There's no price tag on the value and joy this work brings me every day. But there is a price on healthcare, housing, car repairs, and childcare, and I am the breadwinner for a family of 4. And I've watched my ability to support them decline every year that I've worked at GRPS. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that Michigan's cost of living rose 3.5% from 2023 to 2024. Factor in rising healthcare costs and the fact that GRPS pays significantly less than any other Kent County district, including Godwin Heights, which offered me a job a month after I started at Frost, where I would be making $11,000 more now. A 1.5% raise is just an insult to our profession. But this isn't just about data, this is personal. I'm a master's educated, published poet, and accomplished college instructor and a 6th-year teacher, though GRPS says that I'm only in my 4th year, but that's a different story. I have a talent for building relationships with students and families, and some have even called me the parent whisperer. I'm a passionate, empathetic educator, and you are incredibly lucky to have me serving your students. And this is personal, because my daughter is on her 3rd preschool teacher this year at Sibley Elementary, but shout out Sibley, I love their newsletters, like the principal's amazing. This is personal because my husband is a former GRPS student and is back in school for social work, but had to cut back to 1 class this semester to work more. This is personal because during a breast cancer scare in November, I lay awake at night thinking, I cannot afford this. The next day, I broke down crying as soon as the 6th hour ended. This is personal because literally today, my husband lost his job. I could continue to list how much more I'd make elsewhere, but here's the thing. There is nowhere else I would rather be. Like, this is my community. This is where I want so desperately to invest my time and talent. And 7.5% covers this year's increase in health insurance. 7.5% means I can pay my student loans. 7.5% means I can pay my mortgage and still buy groceries. 7.5% means I can start saving for the future. But even more than that, 7.5% means that I have less fear for my family as I care for my students. 7.5% means I'm valued and appreciated for the work I do. 7.5% means I'm proud of where I work. So please help me be able to afford to stay.
Wendy Winston?
Hello, everyone. My name is Wendy Winston, and thank you to all of you for serving. I just wanted to basically follow up with my colleague. I actually can't say it as well as she can or did, but in 2022 and 2023 school year, my health insurance premium was $58.83. For the, actually I should say I had to take a different plan, which doesn't cover as much this year, and I pay $157 a pay period. So it was $58 in 2022, and it's $157 now. In 2022, I had a 10% co-insurance, zero co-payment on everything, $10 prescriptions, and a $2,000 max on dental. Now I have a $3,300 deductible. I have 20% coinsurance, $10 co-payment, $25 telehealth, $25 office coverage, $50 specialist, $50 urgent care, $200 emergency room, $10 5-tier prescription, and $1,500 dental. So I can show you all these numbers if you don't want numbers rattled off at you. I began teaching in 2000, and since then, my take-home pay has basically remained stagnant. Any increases in compensation have been negated by increased insurance premiums, less medical, vision, dental coverage, higher deductibles, copays, coinsurance, decreased pensions, and a higher requirement for HSA investment. Educator compensation has not kept up with costs of healthcare and healthcare inflation, leading to educators having to pay an increasingly higher share of their total health insurance premiums. This has a profound impact on educators' lives, also often resulting in hundreds of dollars more taken out of every paycheck, making it harder to make ends meet for themselves, and their families. Combined with stagnant pay and additional work stress, my colleagues in other school districts are really experiencing a better work-life balance, and I'm hoping that we can consider offering an increase in compensation to all the educators in GRPS.
And final comment is Donna West.
Good evening. My name is Donna West. I've been involved with GRPS since 2008 as a parent, a volunteer, a substitute teacher, and then last year in 2023, I was finally hired by the district. What should have been a celebration, being hired by the district after working so long to be here, has instead been a hardship. As a second-year teacher, I make less this year than I did last year due to our cost increase of insurance. I now can barely afford to put food on the table for my family. Yes, I have a large family. I have 5 kids, 3 of whom are adults. I still have 2 in this district. I can go elsewhere. I have a field supervisor who will look for another job for me if I say so. I choose to be here in GRPS. I have watched my children come through this district, and I have worked hard as a dedicated sub since 2017 and then hired last year. But I don't feel valued. I do not feel like your priorities to valuing our teachers are actually important enough for you to keep us. There was not much of a sign-on bonus when I started last year. It was a nice little thing to start, and I appreciated it. But to make less this year than I did last year, almost by, if I do the math correctly, $1,000 less per month is what I make this year than what I did last year. That's $1,000. I make enough to put food on my table. And if grocery prices continue to increase, which I'm sure they will, it'll be a bigger struggle. Thankfully, I have a husband who also helps pay our bills. If I did not, there would be no way. But I still choose to stick with GRPS. I believe in the district. I just wish your belief in your staff was just as much as mine was with you. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. The next item on our agenda is the foundation report. We do not have a report tonight, so we will move on to our secretary's report.
All right. Excuse me. I've only got a couple things. We've got upcoming committee meetings. The Ad Hoc Facilities Committee meeting is scheduled for March 10th at 4:30 p.m. in the Library Building, Conference Room 112. And then the Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for March 24th at 4:30 p.m. here in this Administration Building Auditorium. That's
Thank
it.
you. Okay. Our committee chair reports, Finance Committee, Trustee
Righty.
Williams.
Well, we had our meeting on the 24th, and I'll keep it brief because we will be addressing these items under our action items, but I'll just give a little brief summary. Ms. Cribbs gave us information with regards to the purchasing agenda. She gave us a detailed breakdown with regards to our general fund balance, our special revenue balance, and our debt retirement. She shared a few things, areas of concern that I'll just lift up that are, there's been increased fees with regards to our food services, which is new for us, as well as there are some upcoming concerns that are looming out there with regards to the hard cap for insurance that will can have a significant impact on our budget, as well as they are working that out in Lansing. But when it gets worked out, that will be something that we will have to make sure that we're looking to accommodate in our budget, because the hard cap is 80%. And we would be responsible still for that 80% despite what happens at that level. So that could really increase our benefit costs there as well. So, but those are just a few of the highlights from what Ms. Cribbs presented, but these are our action items later, so I won't go too detailed.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to our superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. And so we're first going to begin our evening related to our graduation rates for the class of 2024. I'm going to invite Mr. Rodney Lewis up to kind of give an update. And for the community overall, we always receive our graduation, our official graduation levels about 9 months after graduation. And so that's something that is consistent across our state as well as across our nation, and that's to ensure that the records, as they are closing out the books for the previous school year, are accurate. And so that's why you always see a delay of a graduation report. And so, Mr. Lewis, I'm going to turn it over to you.
So good evening, President Davis, Superintendent Roby, distinguished trustees. I'm going to share an overview of our graduation report for the class of 2024. It'll be more of a big picture report, and good news. So I'll be presenting on themes 3 and theme 6 of our strategic plan. So if you look at the slide that's displayed here, you'll see that our graduation rate was 82.53, which is an increase from the previous year. It's our highest graduation rate that we've had within the last 10 years. And so if you look at 2015 versus 2024, you'll see a gap or closure of a gap of about 26.3%. So we're very happy and proud of that number. When you look at the state's average, the state average is for this past year, or 2024, you got 82.83. We were at 82.53, which is 0.3 tenths short of the state average. However, previous year, 2023, we had outproduced the state for the first time. And again, if you look at where we were in 2015 versus where the state was in 2015, there's still a significant gap. So we've closed the gap on graduation rate over the last 10 years. Our dropout rate is 10.37. This is an area that we're going to continue to work on. It's had a couple peaks in the last 3 years. Last year we were at 7.48. And if you notice on the next slide, last year in 2023 we had outpaced the state in dropout rate, but we still continue to climb downward if you look at where we were in 2015 in comparison to 2024. And then our four-year graduation rate by subgroups, you can see there how that plays out. All students again was at 82.53%. Our females outpaced our males, and then we have the other subgroups that show the graduation rate percentages for the class of 2024. And then this is an outlook by what it looks like by school, with the state average in there as well. And then our last chart shows our cohort sizes. If you notice in 2024, we've had the highest cohort size since 2020 in the last 5 years, and we've had the highest number of graduates as well in 2024 versus the previous 4 years. So, any questions?
One of the things that I want to point out to our board is that at our next work session, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into this data. And so this was just primarily to give an overview and to announce what our graduation rates are. And again, they continue to climb and stay at pace with the state, although we saw a slight kind of inversion between where the district was and the state. I want to make sure that people understand that the state also grew, and it grew a little bit greater than what we did, but we still were able to grow year over year. And I think that's important to kind of lift that up. And so we'll dig into that data a little bit more at an upcoming work session.
Yeah, well, congratulations to the district again. That's something to absolutely be proud of, and thank you to all the staff who are working hard to produce this data. My only question is, can you clarify what a cohort is? Is that 9th grade to 12th grade, or just how many seniors?
So that's the number of seniors that are in the cohort for classes 2024, based on when they enrolled as 9th graders until they finish in 12th grade.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that fluctuates.
Okay, thank you so much.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is related to Dean Transportation. As requested by our board, we are providing quarterly reports related to Dean's work within our district and its progress related to various metrics on on-time performance, as well as other things that the community has asked for. And so we have the Dean brothers here to provide a presentation and overview, and so I'll turn it over to them.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good evening, President Davis, Dr. Roby, distinguished members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to be here again and share our quarterly update with you. With us tonight is my brother Christopher Dean, who's our Director of Innovation. I'm Patrick Dean. I serve as President of Dean Transportation. Kevin Harkness is to my right, your left, who serves as our Operations Director for Kent County. Brian Thrasher, who's our Vice President. And then Rolanda Robinson, who's our Assistant Director, is in the audience, along with Lee Helmer, who's our statewide operations manager. So wanted to make sure we bring the entire Dean team for the resources in our commitment to GRPS. This is our 6th quarterly update. We're very proud of the updates we've had and appreciate the board for reviewing transportation and working alongside our team. We have a fantastic group of school bus drivers and bus attendants on the road every day who are committed to GRPS. We would welcome any one of the board members or other community members to stop by the transportation office, and we can share a tour of the office and a little bit about the operations. We love to show off the work we do behind the scenes, because the logistics, the technology, the things that go into transportation are pretty remarkable. We'd love to show you that in action. Tonight we have a presentation around our metrics that we've been working on for several years. Christopher is going to cover a little bit about our electric school bus updates, which are extremely exciting and in motion. Kevin will cover a little bit more about operations, and Brian's available for questions about any additional metrics we have. So with that, I'll turn it to Kevin Harkness to share our first slide, a little bit about what's going on in operations.
Excellent, thank you, Patrick. So I'm just going to kind of go through the bullet points here. Continued implementation of Trip Tracker. So what Trip Tracker is, it's an automated field trip system where we're allowed, they put in athletic trips, field trips, etc. Takes a lot of the human error out of the past system, which was all handheld paperwork, spreadsheets, things of that nature. This year so far, we've done just under 1,500 trips. As of Thursday, it's 1,434. We did 30 or 40 trips on Friday. So again, 1,500 trips. We continue to use the Z-Pass, and here comes the bus. We continued our program rewarding scholars. Their top 5 scholars every month continue to get a McDonald's gift card, along with our bus driver who encourages and has the most scholars using the Z-Pass. So we just got those metrics on, well, it would have been Friday we got those metrics for the following month, or this month, so we'll have those cards out to them. The metrics as far as on time this quarter remained virtually the same. They were a tick lower, but that would have to do with the weather. Okay, so now we're reporting on January. You know, there were a few snow days and some Christmas break time, you know, staggered in there. So, but overall, the metrics from this year are up above the metrics for last year at the same time frame. So again, continued improvement on on-time metrics. Reimagine project, we are continuing to work with the district. Lucas, who's back there, you guys probably all know Lucas well. He continues to work with our team, if not daily, at least weekly, on different plans, what we need. We've talked to architects and different things about planning school bus loops and parking lots and different things for pickups and drop-offs, so we do that all the time. And the last thing we have is the feedback, the timely feedback that we get. We have an online form that you guys have probably seen or used now, and that's what this graph is. You can see at the beginning of the year, in August, we were averaging about 45 to 50 calls a week, and most of those were beginning of the school year calls. Hey, you know, my student moved, or what's my bus time, things of that nature. And as you can see, those calls have dramatically went down to where we're averaging, well, last week we had 0. Okay, most weeks it's around 1 or 2 calls, and many of those calls the last few weeks have been, I'm new to GRPS, which is a wonderful thing for you guys. What do I need to do to get my scholar on a bus? And so obviously we handle those accordingly. So that's kind of an operations update. As I alluded to, the on-time performance, as you can see, we're pretty steady right around the 93-ish%. Every month, you know, that's what we're getting to school. Again, slightly down for January versus December, but as a comparative to last year, we're up. And again, you're always going to see that in the winter months when you have, you know, slow weather and winter delays. And again, it's, you know, 1.4% is, with the number of students, that's not a huge drop off. So. And then the last thing I want to talk about are some of our engagement opportunities. And again, some of these are very similar to what you have, but again, we want to, you know, definitely promote them. Our Transportation Advisory Committee, we meet up here coming, I believe Friday will be our next meeting, but that is a group of parents and some people from Dean, obviously, some administrators who have gotten together, and we talk about transportation. The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it may be, what we need to do to fix it, and that has been magnificent. There becomes a lot of good discussion, and a lot of things have turned around because of those group of parents and, you know, school officials that we've worked with. Transportation forums, we honestly don't have one, I believe, right now in the books, because we had one on October 29th, and we had 1 person attend, which is wonderful. That's telling us, you know, that hopefully we're doing something right, and people are starting to see that, you know, there's changes happening. online feedback forms, that's part of that graph that I showed you just a few minutes ago. That's what that alludes to. And then the support of the transportation technology. The one thing that I want to hit on are the cameras. We had alluded that we were putting cameras in the buses, and I can assure you those are done. We have 10 camera systems on the bus ready to go. I am currently working with Lucas to get a process in place whereby the district can request video in the chain of command that goes through internally. I think we have a pretty good plan in place. We just need to talk to the cabinet or whomever at the appropriate time, and Lucas is working through that. But once we get through that step, we'll start using them. I mean, they're there, they're ready, they're functioning. We can watch lifetime video, we can do everything. So, good stuff with that. And the other thing that is part of the on time is last year we measured what we call double up runs, where if we didn't have enough staff, we would send a bus out to school, have them go do their thing, come back and get another school. I can proudly say this year we have had a grand total of 0. 0 doubled up runs. Our staffing is some of the best staffing that we've had in quite some time. We're able to cover all of our field trips. We're able to cover all of the runs. You know, the last 3 or 4 weeks have been challenging on days. We did have to send some office staff out because of illness and sickness. But, I mean, there's not much we can do about that. But when people are healthy, we're doing a very good job with that. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chris.
Yeah, thank you. I'm pleased this evening to provide an update regarding the electric school buses for GRPS. A quick summary of how this all comes together. Electric school buses, it's quite an expensive endeavor. The primary method to make this happen for districts across the nation is through grant funding. For GRPS, we have 2 sources of grant funding. One is a federal program through the Clean School Bus Program, and the second is a state of Michigan grant. When you add those up together, we have just over $6.6 million of funding. The project itself, we're estimating to be just between that $6.6 and $7 million. We're working hard every single day to close that gap, so the project itself is as cost neutral as possible. There's a lot of unknowns in the world right now about grant funding and opportunities and things. You may ask that question, but I'd take the opportunity to share. Up to this point, there's a lot of what ifs. There's not a lot of formal information that we've been provided that would change our course. So we are working steadily on behalf of GRPS, and I'd summarize that as that: steady, continuing to educate ourselves, work hard towards the goal of deploying these electric school buses. On the slide, there's an overall timeline. Right now, we're continuing to work almost daily with Consumers Energy on infrastructure upgrades to the lot. Without getting too far into the weeds, they're going to perform some upgrades through their Power My Fleet program, which is awesome because that means it comes at 0 cost to the district. So they'll upgrade the infrastructure, and then from there we'll be able to work with the electrician to install everything that's required for the buses. All the outlets, all the chargers, everything that's required to make that go. And so really we expect, and it's our plan, that kind of the shovels in the ground, the chargers installed, those sorts of things will happen mainly in the summertime where it makes most sense, where operations is a little slower, and we have more opportunity to do that on the lot. And as of right now, our best estimate is that we continue to hope for and plan that our first electric school buses will be on the ground here in Grand Rapids sometime in Q4. Like I said, there's a lot of unknowns, and that certainly impacts the vendors who are making the electric school buses. So we have our eye on that, and we'll continue to update you and the district as more information becomes available. But certainly, we have our heads down, we're working hard. We believe it's still a steady project moving forward, and we're excited about what the future holds for the electric school buses here in Grand Rapids. And as Kevin alluded to, we also have a lot of exciting things going on with our technologies. He covered the cameras pretty well, but we're excited to confirm that at last update, we presented that we'd be installing 10 systems on buses throughout the district, and we've completed that. It's exciting. These are the next generation state-of-the-art systems that allow for remote diagnostics, remote viewing, live view, things that aren't possible with kind of historical systems. So we're very pleased to have those systems deployed on 10 buses and are working through the procedural items as it relates to pulling video, chain of command, those sorts of items. Kind of going at the same time of that, we're also in the midst of evaluating on school bus tablets. So essentially, looking at how can we take our current processes, pen and paper processes, driver directions, passenger manifests, those sorts of things, how can we digitize that? The most appropriate method to do that and aid in the drivers are tablets. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. I think you could generally summarize it as kind of IT style tasks and how this information flows. So we're getting to the tail end of evaluating really 3 primary vendors that appear to be feasible for the school buses. And so I hope that we'll be able to wrap that up in the next few weeks and here this spring start installing the physical hardware on the buses, getting feedback from our drivers, really starting to work on the kind of in the weeds items on the school buses. So pretty exciting adventures with electric school buses as well as improving our onboard technologies. And that goes over and above, I'm pleased to share that, GRPS has one of the most advanced technology offerings in the state of Michigan for school buses with both school bus tracking as well as Scholar tracking via ZPass. This is going to take it to a new level, and we're excited to do this on behalf of the district and present to you the results and the options. So thank you for your time and look forward to questions.
Thank you, Chris. One of the other things I wanted to add that the board had asked at one of our last meetings was some of the changes that the state did with respect to illegal passing of school buses. One of the biggest things that we've seen in our industry is motorists just ignoring our red lights. It is a very serious safety concern for not only the student, the scholar, for their safety, but also our drivers and other citizens on the road. And so the state approved a law that allows school districts to place cameras. Actually, it's always been allowed to place cameras on the outside of a school bus, but now it can be used for more enforcement mechanisms within the state of Michigan. There's a revenue component to it that goes back through the school district. We have recently met with several vendors and continue on our path to have the best technology partner and vendor to support the future of what that law looks like in our state for our students. So we're very excited about where it's headed, and we should have more information in the coming months as we finalize. There's even some webinars the MDE, MAPT groups, MSBO groups are putting out there this week related to the technology. So lots of quick advancement here within our student transportation industry. So wanted to share that as a follow-up to some of the questions we got at our last presentation. And then finally, as the seasons start to change and we start to feel a little bit of spring, now's the time where we're going to be heavily recruiting school bus drivers. Not that we ever stop, but as the seasons change, we are going to be continuing to recruit great folks to join our transportation team, whether it's to drive a route every day or drive a field trip. Kevin mentioned our staffing's at the highest it's been in many, many years. We have a great group of subs that help us out when their schedule allows, and then we've got a great group that are at work every day. So we have opportunities for any community member that's interested in supporting GRPS through being a school bus driver. Don't need any experience, and we're excited to train. So we'll be starting that here in the next couple months so that we have staff ready to go for the fall already. We're already planning for next school year in transportation. So again, thank you on behalf of the entire Dean Transportation team for the board's support and engagement, and we welcome any questions the board has.
One question. Go ahead, Trustee Rodriguez.
Thank you. It's official. Thank you for being here. We appreciate these updates for sure. And I, as a board member that's been, here now going on 3 years, I really appreciate how far this relationship has come, truly and honestly. I see the commitment there. I see your work ethic in these presentations and the results that we see with our families and such. So I just want to say I appreciate that. As far as the cameras go on the buses, so you have 10 school buses equipped with cameras. I guess what is the plan for installing them on all the buses, or how long are you trying to wait and see how it pans out to possibly add more?
Absolutely. So our vision for this batch is a beta test from
Right.
now until the end of the school year,
End of school year.
with the hopes that the systems and processes can be put in place. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of process. There's FERPA pieces. There's student record pieces that we need to work on to make sure that it's in compliance with the school district. So that's what the work we'll be doing this year, with the hope and goal, obviously at the direction of the administration and board, for a fuller deployment in the future, including discussions about next year.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Trustee Wade?
The tablets, are they going to replace the Z-Pass, or will that still be an addition?
Yeah, so that's exactly, it's a great question, because those are things we're evaluating of, what additional features can there be? Are there ways we can do, quote unquote, the Z-Pass better with cards, and are there alternatives to that? I can't say for sure it's going to replace. If anything, I think our goal is that it would supplement and only make our current offerings better.
I did have a question about the Z-Pass. I know sometimes as we get started on things, right, they get, it's exciting, right? And everyone's like, all right, we're for sure going to use it. And then they don't, right? It just happens. What is kind of the average use of Z-Passes currently for our students or families?
I think the utilization is fairly low amongst the ridership.
Right.
It is difficult because it's an inherent issue with these systems. The student has to have a card to swipe to make the system work. So we work hard with our driving staff to remind folks and encourage them, hey, bring your card. We absolutely are equipped. We can reprint cards. We can get people set up. If folks are reaching out that, hey, I lost my card, or I need a new one, or hey, I've never been a part of it and I want to be, we're responding to those individuals. But anything we can do to promote both Z-Pass as well as Here Comes the Bus, those are awesome offerings that benefit the transportation department, the scholars, their families. So we continue to try to promote both and let folks know, hey, they're here for your benefit. We work hard to make sure they're there, useful, functioning properly, and we'd love if more people used both of them.
I would too. Thank you.
Could you explain how it benefits? Sorry, I don't know if this is on. Could you explain how it benefits on your end? Because as a parent, I track my kids with their little watches or whatever, so I don't use it. But if I knew that there was a benefit in other ways.
Yeah, so absolutely. So certainly it's verification of a student formally boarding and unloading from the bus itself. It provides the parents some opportunities to receive some notifications if they wish, so there's some convenience there. But also it provides some formal records for us to easily go back on and look electronically when that student boarded and departed the bus. I would also say that the parent themselves, hopefully the goal is that they have the information in their device or via their device to potentially answer a question that historically they may call the transportation department about. Where's my bus? Did it get here? What time did it get here? Those sorts of things. If it's running late, we have been doing a much better job and are working hard to consistently send messages through the app, provide additional ways to communicate with parents. So we really feel like it puts some information into the scholar's hands, or the guardian of the scholar, that traditionally they may need to call the office about if those technology options weren't available.
Okay, thank you.
I'll go quick. Regarding the exterior traffic safety cameras, are you guys starting to think about a timeline of when these might be able to get implemented and we could see them on some buses?
Yeah, great question. So Chris and I can both cover this. There are emerging technology partners. Now that the law has been passed, there's one big technology partner that's more prominent in the state than others. And so we're making sure that we align with the best technology partner for the long term. So we're in that process right now. I anticipate that we'll be beta testing some systems here fairly soon with larger deployment next year once we get kind of established. One of the things that we do need to figure out in more detail is with the district. The funds for enforcement flow back through the district, and then those funds pay for the camera systems or upgrades. So there is some components that the administration and Dean have to work out with respect to that funding piece of it. It's not a mandate in the state, but it does allow for the use of these cameras for enforcement, which had historically not been admissible in court or potentially not as strong in court. I guess I should say it that way. So,
Okay. Thank you.
Trustee Davis?
Yeah, I'm hoping you can touch on each of these quickly, but it sounds like you have 4 technology rollouts like coming, and they're all going to be like starting as tests. Can you just explain like how you're picking or how you're thinking through which ones are going to go where?
In terms of,
You got the electric buses, you have the security cameras for people running through the stoplights, you got the tablets, and then you got the cameras. Like, how are you picking which ones go where?
yeah, well, I think they're, they're all somewhat able to move forward independent of one another. I think first of all, with our current infrastructure for our technology, our bus tracking and our student tracking via ZPass, that provides the foundation through which we're evaluating how do we improve that system and make tablets useful. So tablets themselves, the primary concern is how does it integrate with the entire infrastructure that already exists. Electric school buses themselves, it'll look and feel like a yellow school bus on the outside. Many folks may not even know it's an electric school bus until you get up next to it and there's literally no engine and no noise. Our technology will run the same on an electric school bus as it would on a diesel, a gas, or propane. So really that is kind of independent of the onboard technology. And then finally, as Pat alluded to, with the new legislation passed regarding stop arm cameras, anytime you have a new technology come to market, there's many, many vendors that come to the space along with it. So part of what we're working so hard with is evaluating at a very deep level who we feel can be successful in the long term and provides the most benefit to the district. The most important goal is the best technology to reduce individuals from passing our red lights. That's what it's about, is making school bus transportation safer. That's our primary goal. And the technology that comes along with it is important to make sure we're addressing that. So I would say there's a lot going on at once, but they're kind of each in their own silo, if you will, so they all can kind of continue at once towards the final product.
And just to add, the deployment of the cameras, the current cameras, the 10 system, what we did is we sat down as a team and we looked at Southwest, Northeast, we looked at all the quadrants, then we looked at special ed, general ed, and then we looked at high school versus, or not high school, I should say, middle school versus elementary. And then we had 2 or 3 camera systems kind of left over, if you will, and we said, all right, where do we have the most trouble? And we put them on those particular buses. So we tried to get a very good demographic as far as to give, I guess, everyone an equal opportunity to be viewed, if you want to look at it that way. So that's how we did it, and we just did that internally as our own transportation team.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
I do have one question as well. What I'm noticing families are running into now is a lot of bus switches and then changing of times. So that's been kind of hard to manage. Can you talk a little bit about why that might happen? And I know that's hard to track, but that really is part of the pickup drop-off timeliness.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's
so,
a
yeah.
very, very good reason that you're probably noticing that probably the past 3 to 4 weeks, or families saying that. That is from the Michigan State Police inspections. So Michigan State Police every year have to inspect our entire fleet legally. So they have been at Grand Rapids Union operation, and they come in and they take 20 buses or thereabouts a day, maybe 15, but whatever they get to, and they inspect them. What does that mean? If the state police pull your bus, we have to put a sub bus in, and they might not give us as much notice as we'd love to have. And with a fleet as our size, that leads to quick, bus 17 is now bus 19, and then we try to communicate and send all the messages out, but that changes some of the times and it changes the buses. You should notice dramatically, a dramatic improvement on that coming up, because state police inspections ended last week. So that would be for the last 4 weeks. And again, we know it, we realize it, there's nothing that we can do about it other than just try to communicate to the best of our ability. So that's the reason why.
And you use a ZPass for, so if it's...
we use the Here Comes the Bus would be the best tool for that, where what we'll do is we'll know, like, if your bus is going to be 10 minutes late, we can have, there's a messaging system on it, so we'll put in there, hey, bus 17 got switched to bus 19, bus 19 is running 5 minutes late, or whatever the message may be. That's the best tool. We also use the school's robocall system. which is not our favorite tool, but it works. So between those two things, those are how we communicate with the parents.
And that's the time switching too, is because of that
Correct.
same thing? Okay. thank you.
Correct. And again, hopefully, again, with those inspections done, there should be a tremendous improvement upon that. You're welcome.
With regards to that, is there any communication that goes out to parents in advance to say, hey, we're going through this inspection, you may see this change? Is there something that forewarns the parents about that this could possibly happen? I guess if this is something that happens annually, if it is not happening, maybe we can prepare families in advance next year to say, hey, look for these potential changes as we go through an inspection, watch your emails closely, or please, even say, hey, this is a great time to really tap into Z-Pass and those things.
I think that's great. We definitely acknowledge we could do more of that. Inspections are random, so we don't have forewarning when inspections will happen. Previously, they've been in the summertime. This year, they were in the wintertime, so that's part of the state police process. But given that and given it's multiple weeks, thank you for that. We will do a better job of that next year. Thank you.
Okay, I do not see any other questions. Thank you so much for coming and giving us that update.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
That concludes my reports for this evening.
Thanks, yeah.
Okay, moving on to our action items. Bylaw 1180, committee's presentation of first reading. Do I have a motion to support or to move forward with the first reading?
Support.
Any comments, questions? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to the purchasing agenda. Any questions or comments? Do I have a motion to approve the purchasing agenda?
So moved. Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, purchasing agenda moves forward. And moving on to adoption of Budget Amendment 1, General Fund.
Motion to approve adoption of Budget Amendment 1 for the general fund.
Do I have support?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Adoption of Budget Amendment 1 General Fund moves forward. Adoption of Budget Amendment 1 Special Revenue Fund.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, adoption of Budget Amendment 1 Special Revenue Fund moves forward. Adoption of Budget Amendment 1 Debt Retirement Fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, adoption of Budget Amendment 1 Debt Retirement Fund moves forward. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda moves forward. All right, next on our agenda is president announcements. The only announcement I have a couple announcements tonight. If you have not turned the homework from the retreat into Julie, please make sure you do that tonight if at all possible, because it will really help our work move forward. And also tomorrow night, we have our first coffee with the board for the year at Cook Arts Center from 6 to 7:30. So we would love to see as many members of the community there. It will be a very informal event where you can ask questions of board members or share anything about the district with us. So we do have 4 board members that will be there, and we would love to see you out there. And moving on to public comment for non-agenda items. I have Dee Jones, followed by Jolene Andrews.
All right, once again, as a reminder, during public comment, individuals will be given 3 minutes to make their public comments. Before beginning your comment, please state your full name. Again, in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, board members and superintendent cannot respond to public comment. Thank you.
How you doing, everybody? I'm D. Jones, passionate entrepreneur and visionary. I have a handout that I'm passing you guys. So the first picture that you see is I was just at the conference, the African American conference on Friday. I had the largest room. If you see that picture, the kids were so full in the room that they were sitting on the ledge. I had every single room filled at GRCC. It was a lot of students that go to GRPS, and I'm very, very excited for you guys to see that. Also, is attached is the letter that I got from the president of the Economic Forum from the United Nations. So I'm very excited to be able to show you guys the cool stuff that I'm doing and the impact that I've had, because there is a lot of things. Also, if you guys seen, Donald Trump just announced that they're going to be creating a federal crypto reserve. And I spoke to you guys about crypto. I spoke to all of these students, all of these African-American students about digital finance, digital literacy, and I know that this is going to have an impact. I know some people don't like him, but I know this legislation that and the things that he's doing with these executive orders can actually benefit our community, our society, if people actually utilize these things properly. So I'm very excited to be able to present this stuff to you. I'm just very excited to be able to speak to y'all again, to just partner with the school district to be able to give back. I got some gaming chairs from Steelcase. I was able to give one to a kid that is in the Youth Justice Influence Esports League. But when I do these esports activations with you guys, Steelcase will be bringing me a $520 chair that I'll be giving to one of the students that I feel is the best engaged. I'm not going to give it to the kid who has the best, highest score and gets one of the $1,000 prizes, but I'm going to give it to the kids that's really engaged and really cares and passionate about gaming, because it's an expensive chair, and I want to be able to give it to somebody that cares about the opportunities that I'm offering. So I'm just very excited to be able to give back to the community, to pioneer, to lead. I also want you guys to, like I said, be a part of the first regional finals that we have for esports that we're going to have. I also forgot another document, but I actually got some papers from the Michigan State Treasury. So they were actually at the DeVos place. I know that there's $20 billion in the state treasury, and I've actually spoke to our state treasury. So I know the divineness that this can bring, and I know the billions in revenue and me speaking to the United Nations. I already have my plane ticket booked, so I'm very serious about this, and I'm very excited and know that I can lead and I can bring economic boost to our city, our county, our school district, and I plan to pour a lot of funding into our community, into our school district. So please, 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 guys. I had somebody named Danielle James, who does stories for MLive, contact you guys to be able to kind of get the story out there, because I already spoke about crypto and all these other things. I know that's the state largest publication, so it can be a huge story for us. Thank you.
Jolene Andrews. And Ms. Turin, can you pronounce your name for me again? Because I always mispronounce it, and I'm so sorry. Salen Turan. Okay. Thank you.
Jolene Andrews, Southwest Elementary. When the GREA contract was settled 2.5 years ago, the agreement was that the district would work towards more equity and planning time for elementary teachers. In 2.5 years, no progress has been made. I'm not holding out hope that progress will be made in the upcoming negotiations, as most of the solutions to providing more planning time would require money and employees. And the district will be all too quick to say that they don't have the money to hire more people. Yet, suspiciously, they have the money for many other things, as evidenced by purchasing agendas, and they certainly have enough money to move around, as evidenced by the budget amendment tonight. Until recently, if I went on a field trip and I missed a break and my planning time and my lunch, I was compensated for that. Now the district is saying field trips are not an eligible reason for this type of compensation. My grade level participated in the Immerse program at the Grand Rapids Public Museum, where we went to the museum each day, 5 days in a row. I did not ask to be paid for the amount of time it took me to fill out the application for the program. I did not ask to be paid for the training I had to take over the summer to participate in the program. I did not ask to be paid for the time I spent meeting with museum staff to plan our field trip. However, the teachers on my team did ask to be paid for missing our morning breaks and our lunches. I was approved, and a couple weeks later, my coworker was denied. Equity. However, I don't understand how this can be denied, as the contract states each elementary teacher should have a duty-free break not to exceed 15 minutes each morning and afternoon. We didn't get a break. We were busy supervising our students. It also states each employee shall have a 40-minute duty-free lunch period. We don't have duty-free lunches on field trips. We're passing out food. We're escorting students to the bathroom. We're conversing with our students. HR doesn't seem to understand that this means it's not duty-free. They seem to be focused on whether or not we actually got to eat our lunch. While there are field trips where I have not had time to eat my lunch, that's not the point. The contract states it should be duty-free. If eating lunch with my students is such a privilege, as HR has told the GREA, then I would like to propose a sign-up for Franklin campus staff to spend their lunchtime attending field trips to eat lunch with my students. We are about to go on a field trip required by the district. I have no say in what day or what time. I will miss my duty-free lunch, and I will miss 48 minutes of my precious planning time for the week. I do not see a logical reason why I should not be compensated for this, but I already fear the amount of planning time I will spend fighting to get compensated. The district is going to continue to say that they're short on cash, when in reality they are mismanaging the money. In this case, they are having their employees spend time denying our requests and going round and round with us as to what the contract says we're entitled to. Just for your frame of reference, a missed break is worth $6.25 and a missed lunch is worth $16.75. We're constantly telling you that a raise and more planning time would lead to staff retention, but an even easier way to retain staff is to not make us fight to be compensated for what the contract says we should be compensated for. I feel like I'm being punished for going above and beyond to get my students these opportunities. When we make public comment, we're told to go through the proper channels. The proper channels are broken. Please fix the proper channels. Thank you.
Ceylin Turan.
Good evening. My name is Ceylin Turan. I am a high school teacher at Grand Rapids Montessori, and I just completed 3.5 years teaching here. I'm short, so maybe it'll be a little bit easier, but imagine me as a 7th grader in August 2021, okay? To start the year, I have 3 middle school teachers. One of them is brand new, and I heard there was a new math teacher in the high school. 9-ish months later, I'm at the end of my 7th grade year, and I just said goodbye to one of my middle school teachers, the assistant principal, and the youth advocate. I started my 8th grade year. We have a new assistant principal, but no replacement for the middle school teacher or the youth advocate. At the end of November, we got a new behavior specialist to replace the youth advocate, but we never replaced the middle school teacher. So we just had about 30 to 32 students in each of the classrooms that year. At the end of the year, I said goodbye to another one of my middle school teachers, and the only one that is left now is the one that was there that also started when I started 7th grade. Also, we have a social worker that I never saw again after this year. Finally, moving my 8th grade year now, or 9th grade, I'm sorry, freshman in high school. There is a new social worker, but neither the middle school teachers that had left since I started 7th grade were replaced. Is only been the one certified teacher and a long-term sub with K-12 Elevate. I'm finishing my 9th grade year, and I had to say goodbye to more people. The English teacher and the only middle school teacher that was left, both of them are now gone. I never saw the new social worker or my PE teacher again. I also spent the last 2 days of my school year worrying about whether my behavior specialist would be returning the next year, because she was just informed that her position was no longer available. started my 10th grade year. They replaced 2 of the 3 middle school teachers, and still have 1 long-term sub. I thought that the behavior specialist had gotten the position back, but she also left. We did get a new youth advocate to replace her in October, which was great, but also in October, our counselor quit. At the end of December, we did get a long-term sub for a counselor, but then the mental health therapist and the science teacher quit. We did get replacements for the science teacher, but never the mental health therapist. And we did get a new social worker who then quit 2 weeks later. We're here today. I have seen a major turnover in this school, and it's not fair to the kids. There's no consistency, and honestly, my school isn't even one of the worst in your district.
Okay, that completes our public comment. Moving on to superintendent's comments. Okay, board member comments. I'll start with trustee Williams.
Will you come back?
Yeah.
I made you.
I'll move on to trustee Williamson.
No comment tonight.
Trustee Davis.
No comment.
Trustee Moreno.
I just want to uplift our 2 scholars that we saw today. It's so cool. It's so cool. I just wish I was them, honestly. So I just want to keep uplifting them.
Trustee Williams.
Yes, I wanted to shout out, was it Kimura and Percy for representing the district so well. I appreciate that. I want to thank everybody for being out here with us. I know you could be other places, but we appreciate you coming to share with us. And then really just want to uplift all the people that has been working with Dean to get us some improvement. I remember it was such a hot topic here for so long, and to know that the intentionality is working, and I look forward to how we can even continue to improve upon the experience our young people get riding our buses and these new electric buses that are coming online as well.
Trustee Melton.
Yeah, if you guys have not been in an elementary school during March's Reading Month, I would encourage you to do that. I spent a day on the roof of our building one year being shot to the moon, and all sorts of fun things happen. I think I rode a donkey one year at Harrison Park. Go and read. So each of the schools, I think at least most of the schools have sign up. So I just encourage people in the audience as well as you guys to take some time and get into at least an elementary school, maybe not secondary too.
Trustee Rodriguez.
You do say it like with an accent. Okay. Yeah, no, I also want to uplift the scholars that were here with their great accomplishments. I was a little jealous of Percy with T.I. right there. I've been loving T.I. since I was a kid, and I actually didn't recognize him with his hair long because I always had the shaved head, cap kind of to the side T.I. But no, yeah, so great things are happening in GRPS. Again, Dean Transportation, I appreciate the work that you have all put in. We strive to be the best, and no one's ever going to do anything perfect, but I see the work that you're doing, and I appreciate it. Teachers, I hear you. As a former GRPS employee myself, I don't want to say it's just a GRPS problem. It's a systemic problem. I think education is very undervalued in this country. However, I'm not the board member for the entire country, right? I'm the board member for GRPS. And so I want to say that I support you all. And I know that working in a classroom, working in a school building it's some tough work, right? And I still work as a support staff member at another district, but the work is still the same, right? So I just want to thank you all for expressing your needs, and I think it's our duty as board members to listen to those needs as well, and just know that I have heard you and am acknowledging you as best as I can right now. Yeah, and that's all I got for today. I'm grateful that this meeting has been one of our shorter ones in recent times, so that's all I got.
VP Wade?
Thank you all for coming out and sticking around. Shout out to the scholars. I had the pleasure and privilege of being at both of those events, and I was so proud. And I got flashy thinged at the symphony because we're not supposed to record, but I said, this is my baby up here, I'm recording him. And yeah, so they kept flashy thinging me, so I didn't care. And well, thank you to Dean, for all the work that you do. It's not many bus companies that, and not a whole lot of options, and I just appreciate that you don't take that for granted. And I appreciate the work that you guys do in the updates, and I'm proud of the updates that we're getting lately, from the attendance record data that we received to the graduation rates. GRPS is really on the rise, and I'm so proud to be a part of watching this district go and grow. To our teachers, I am a administrator, and I hire and I pay over 25 educators yearly, and I work to pay them what they are worth. And so I value your comments, and I value your the work that you all do. I think no one in this room does not value the work that you guys do. And I see firsthand with a building full of 0 to 5, the work that our teachers do and how much they actually should earn is valuable work, and you never get paid enough. Monetary compensation. On top of that, how else do we value our teachers and show them that they're valued? And that's something that I wrestle with all of the time. And I hope our district, I know that our district works to show you all that too. And I'm just hoping that we get to a better place every year with our staff. So thank you for the work that you do. And thank you to our district for continuing to try to get to a better place with our teachers and our entire district staff, actually. And I'm also thankful that this meeting is ending a little earlier but I'm on a lot of lists for reading, Sarah, so I want to uplift what she said too, that I didn't read. I got a whole lot of books. If you want to, get some from me, I'd love to share.
Okay, I do not have any additional comments tonight, so our meeting is adjourned.
Thanks.